go. Here we go again. So much that's going on. But before we start, don't forget, if you haven't hit that subscription button, hit it right now. Hit that like. That's going to help us. Also, those of you who have subscribed, check your subscriptions, because YouTube likes to unsubscribe those who have subscribed to my channel, and many other YouTubers. Do check the subscribe list that you have for all the programming that you do like. If you've been unsubscribed, resubscribe again. We do appreciate that from us and all the other YouTube creators out there, because basically this is what's going on. This is the fact of what's going on. And this next story is sort of like what's going on, but you're seeing it from a larger scale. Well, South Park has always been controversial when it comes to an episode. They're always still the political front when it comes to comedy. You want to see something made fun of in the political sense. South Park is the show to go to still, and this season is no different. As we found out that the second episode of the season has angered China. And because of that, South Park has been banned in China. I mean, this is funny. It is first it was the episode, and from what I'm understanding now, basically they've wiped pretty much South Park off their systems over in China. And if you haven't seen the episode, go grab to see it, because it is hysterical. It is the truth. After what happened yesterday with the NBA, that proves it in itself. And also the company Vans, if you haven't heard that story yet, we're going to discuss a little bit on that. But basically, the main storyline of South Park was about China. One part of it was that the character Randy, he was taking his weed and he wanted to go sell it in China, and he found out it was a lot harder than he thought, and he ended up in a prison camp, which made things, which we know that's true, that there are many Muslims and other religious prisoners in China, that they're slave labor and manufacturing product out there. The other half of the story was that Stan, his son, created a band, and the band started becoming popular. They wanted to make a movie, and as they were making the movie, they had to edit everything because they wanted to appease China, that it would be able to be shown in China. But see, this is what has been going on. I mean, I don't know why, hey, you want to make money? Okay, that's fine and simple. But you don't have to edit versions on there. If a country doesn't want your film or your product or something like that, fine and dandy, go elsewhere. It may cost you money. It may cost you, a lot of earnings. But let me tell you something, like I said in South Park, your integrity, is important on there. And that's very important. We are here in this country, freedom of speech, freedom of right. We have many freedom of rights in this country. We don't need to cow tip or bend the knee to another country to send them a movie, sell them a product. We have our opinions. After what happened yesterday with the NBA, with Houston Rockets general manager Daryl Morey showing support for Hong Kong protesters, that upset the Chinese. Then now the Chinese, in fact, actually the preseason games are banned now in China at the moment. From what I got from the last time I checked on the media line from the NBA, that basically they're being banned out there. And, even though they apologized, they turned around and apologized, hey, we have our opinions. If we don't like what's something going on in somewhere else in the world, you can't sit there and cow tip or bend the knee and say, hey, listen, this is what's going on, and I'm sorry that, on there. That's exactly what the episode of South Park was showing. I mean, there's a scene where Stan's writing a script, and he has a representative from China over his head, and he goes, no. And he was like, erasing one thing or taking the paper and crunching it up and telling him to start over again. China is not America. China is China. America is America. And basically, when you have a situation, you have a business and on there, and you're dealing with business in China, like I said, if they don't like what your product is, what your beliefs is, fine, go elsewhere. You know, you're going to lose millions of dollars. Fine, it's better that than your freedom of speech, because that's what China is doing right now. And the other half of it is Vans. If you haven't heard the story on this one as well, Vans had made a sneaker that had protesters on the side and had a flower, I think a Hong Kong flower or something on there. And basically they had to pull it because China didn't like it. They were getting backlash from China, so they pulled the shoe. And now they're getting a major backlash from consumers, because basically, hey, listen, we pay with our pockets, and basically what happened is now there's a call for a boycott of Vans across the world, because basically they were supporting the protesters, and China didn't like that. I've always said in time that Hong Kong shouldn't have asked for their freedom from Britain when it came down to that. I think what it is, they should have negotiated a freedom, even though all in all, I don't think China would have gone with that because, the whole Taiwan situation. And here's another thing. The Taiwan flag was removed from iPhone users across over there, because you can't pull up that flag there because of, they don't like Taiwan. I said they don't like the protest that's going on in Hong Kong. And anybody supporting them, they disagree with. And that was the perfect episode, with South Park. And the guys, Matt and Trey Parker, did a fake apology. And it's fantastic that they threw that back in the faces of China. Because that's basically, they're not bending the knee to this. And it's important that you have to understand, China does not run our Constitution. It's an American Constitution. If there's something going on over there, we're allowed to talk about it. If they don't like us talking about it, fine, tough titty, as they say. This is why it's all the arguments that, as far as the trade and stuff like that. Yeah, the president's right to deal with them the way he's dealing with them, because basically they have taken advantage of these situations for years. For years, they've taken advantage of it. And basically, we get somebody that basically is putting their foot down and people complain about it, Hey, nobody's saying to like the guy as far as the president goes. But at least he's putting his foot down when it comes to China. But basically, you have to look at the perception that all these companies are making money in China. And they're restricted. But you have to understand, China's stealing some of the properties of these companies. Why would you do business with them? Stop doing business with them. I used to have people that they used to complain, things are poorly made in China, this and that. I can understand that. But I also mentioned that there are some things that are properly made in China that is better, but it costs a little bit more money. But that's the fact to the situation. The people like saying, well, the best parts I love is when I used to sell shoes. They used to say, that shoes are made so tight is because they're made in China, because Chinese people have small feet. And I just have to laugh at that. I said, that's not how it works. That's not how business works. Shoes are made with shoes. It's however it's designed by the designer. The designers are not all Chinese on there, and I could tell you that for a fact because I've met some of these designers when I used to work in shoes, and this was a long time ago. But when you're dealing with products, trade, freedom of speech issues, you can't let them sort of command what is going on. You have to sit and tell them. It says, listen, this guy from the NBA, he can speak what he speaks. If you don't like it, fine. Say you don't like it. People are going to find out what people say in your country. Maybe it's time you start to change, your thought patterns. You've been what is it, communist for 70 plus years, and the people are not liking it anymore. You're starting to get resistance. Hong Kong, I stand with Hong Kong on there. Hong Kong should be freed. And I'm telling you, free from Chinese rule. And it's straight on. They should have been, like I said, when the British left, they should have been made their own country. Plain and simple. Even though China wouldn't allow it, they should have fought then. I think it would have been easier then to become a country than it is now. Now you're going to go through this major fight. I mean, people have been shot. On both sides, people are doing, some things are being done the wrong way, and I could say that for a fact. There are some people that get a little on the protester side that gets a little anxious, but that's because of what's being done to them, the tortures, the arrests. I mean, you're going to arrest somebody and take them all the way to China, to put them in jail. I mean, that is so ridiculous. That is it's just insane. It's just totally insane. And it's going to show you how China wants to continue. They don't want to lose Hong Kong. And I've mentioned this many and many a times. And I tell you, keep watching the South China Sea. Watch the South China Sea that they're building up there. The next major conflicts on there is going to be in the Asia theater for this reason whatsoever, that China is continuing to push. I mean, there's going to be a point where Russia's going to pull back from them as well, because basically they're pushing left and right. And they want to be themselves onto there, but it's not what the people want. So, we got South Park banned in China completely. You can't watch it there. But, people will figure it out. They're good hackers in China. We know that already. We already know that already. And, as far as Vans goes, I mean, if you want to protest against them, don't go buy their product. That's fine. I'm not that kind of a situation. I just write letters to my dismay to these companies and tell them how I feel. I'm not a Van. I don't wear Vans because basically they don't fit right for me. Yeah, I have big feet, so it's, well, not that big feet. I have wide feet. Let's put it that way. And some of these Vans, they just don't fit right to me. I mean, I'll put them on. I can get them on. And it's like, just something about it just doesn't feel right. It's the same thing like with Converse. Same thing with Converse with me. These type of sneakers on there. But they are popular with the kids because I've sold these. I've sold Vans and I've sold Converse. And the kids love it. Whether it's the very young kids or the teenagers or the young adults. So this is gonna hurt Vans as well. As far as the NBA goes, let me tell you something. When somebody protests against China, where are all the people from the NFL that were complaining with Colin Kaepernick that they said, bend the knee, it's for the flag on that? Where are all those people, during the NFL situations, that they're not screaming at China for this? Well, I guess it's because of the same thing. Because they have, football. I guess football is watched in China too as well. Not as much as the NBA. NBA very popular in China right now. But for now, I guess they are shut down temporarily for the preseason. But who knows how long that's gonna last. So comment below. Tell me how you feel about that. Hey, listen. How many shows are banned out there? I like to know that. It's probably more than South Park. Because there's plenty of other shows that touch base, talks about China and stuff like that. How many movies have been banned out of China? I mean, that's, I can imagine on there. And they expect us to take their movies in and show it as well. I'm not saying to ban their movies. We give freedom of speech in this country on there. But the thing about it is, in turn, if they don't like our product, fine. Don't sell it to them. Don't send the NBA broadcasts out there. Don't send the players to play. If someone in one of the organization is saying, listen, I stand with the protesters, I don't like how China's dealing with Hong Kong. That's his opinion. That's his single opinion. He doesn't need to be blacklisted or whatever China wants to do on there. So remember, subscribe, hit that subscription, hit that like, share this video. You like this video, share it. Let me know on there. And thank you for tuning in. Like I said, every time we put a show up, I love, the people that just, they comment, whether it's good, whether it's bad. There's been some crazy comments on there. You know who you are. There's a lot still going on. Like I said, there's a lot of crazy stuff, and we'll discuss it in the next episodes on there. We'll probably touch base back on this again, probably on American Asylum. So until our next video, thank you for tuning in to Man with the Show on QTCast TV.